Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I picked up 3 big lessons during my 20 years in Army intelligence. Patience can turn the tide in any battle. Knowledge beats everything else as a weapon, and bad guys always think they're above the law, right up until they're proven wrong. I walked away from that life 12 years back, swapping secret briefings and far-off missions for a calmer routine, running Larson Security Consultants right in the heart of downtown Portland. My outfit focused on corporate risk checks and private investigations, solid work that brought in good money and let me be home for dinner most evenings. My military pension boosted the profits, and my knack for doing things thoroughly kept clients loyal. The modest house we snagged in suburban Beaverton showed what mattered to me: a top-notch school district, a neighborhood where kids still ran around outside, and enough room for Amber's pottery setup in the garage we turned into her studio. We moved in when Emily was 7, and those pencil marks charting her growth still line the kitchen door frame. "Dad, I'm heading out," Emily shouted from the entryway that Friday night. At 21, she'd gotten her mom's stunning looks and my stubborn streak, a mix that made her unstoppable once she locked onto a goal. I glanced up from my laptop at the kitchen table. "Where to?" "Study group at Powell's, then maybe grabbing coffee with some friends," she said, juggling a double major in political science and journalism at Portland State. My girl aimed to shake up the world, and I knew she'd pull it off. "Text me when you're heading home," I told her. She gave me an affectionate eye roll. "Always do, old man." Amber stepped out from her studio, still with clay smudged on her arms. "Be safe, sweetheart." After Emily took off, Amber plopped into the chair next to me. "You're burning the midnight oil on a Friday?" "Just a background check for a client. They're hiring a CFO and want no shocks," I explained, then snapped the laptop shut. "But it can wait." We crossed paths 17 years ago at an art gallery in Seattle. She was showing off her ceramic pieces, and I was there because my unit was in town for a conference, dragged along by my CO's wife. Amber Moreno was breaking down the inspiration behind some vases to a snooty art critic, and I watched her shut down his smug attitude with class and grit. I was hooked before we even spoke. Her family background was a tangled tale. Her folks came from Mexico when she was a baby, but her uncle Antonio stayed in Sicily, where the Moreno roots began. Antonio Moreno was a shadowy figure wrapped in family stories and hushed tones, running an import-export gig nobody elaborated on. He'd visited twice during our marriage, both times for weddings, and I couldn't miss how other guys treated him with extra respect. "You're lost in thought," Amber said. "Just feeling thankful," I confessed. "We've made something solid here." She gave my hand a squeeze. "We have." Little did we know, those quiet moments would be the last we'd enjoy for a heck of a long time. I got a call at 1:47 a.m., and I was already grabbing my phone before my eyes were even open, that old combat sense kicking in from the odd hour and strange ring. Amber sat up next to me as I picked up, and a voice said, "Mr. Larson, this is Dr. Singh from Emmanuel Hospital. Your daughter Emily was brought in about 40 minutes ago. She's stable, but you need to get here quick." The drive downtown flew by in a haze, with Amber sitting stiff in the passenger seat, her hands clenched so tight her knuckles turned white. I kept my cool and dialed Coleman Foster, my longtime buddy and a Portland PD detective, saying, "I need you to dig into what happened. Emmanuel Hospital. They say she's stable, but that's all I've got." Coleman jumped right in. "I'm on it. I'll meet you there." The ER's fluorescent lights made everyone look like phantoms, and a nurse rushed us back, no good sign when they skipped the wait. Dr. Singh met us outside a room with that gentle look doctors use for bad news, telling us, "Your daughter was attacked tonight. She's got a concussion, broken nose, 3 cracked ribs, lots of bruising, and defensive marks on her arms. We've done a full exam and gathered evidence." My mind went blank, just feeling Amber's grip on my arm and seeing Dr. Singh's lips move while a roar filled my ears. Through the window, I saw Emily in bed, her gorgeous face all purple and black, her left eye swollen shut. "Can we see her?" Amber's voice was barely a whisper. Inside, Karina's good eye opened as we walked in. "Mom, Dad," she mumbled through a split lip. "I'm okay." Amber broke down, careful tears falling as she held Karina's hand, and I stood by the bed feeling helpless for the first time since I was a kid, back in Kandahar, Baghdad, or other rough spots. I always had a plan, but now, watching my hurt daughter, that control I'd built for decades started to slip. "Who did this?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. Karina's jaw tensed. She had my stubbornness, and decided to spill it despite her fear. Ethan Phelps. The name didn't ring a bell, but I'd find out everything soon enough. "We met at a fundraiser last month for the campus advocacy group. He seemed nice, into the cause, and asked me to dinner tonight to talk funding." She winced. "But he switched it last minute to his dad's penthouse, saying it had a better view and privacy for donations." Amber's hand tightened on Karina's as she choked out, "He wanted—" Her voice cracked. "He said spending the night with him was the price for his donation, and when I said no and tried to leave, he—" She couldn't finish. "Did he—" I couldn't get the words out. "No, I fought back, screamed, and got away. A doorman heard and called 911, she said." "Good for you," I nodded. "But Dad, he wasn't scared, not even with the ambulance. He just smiled and said his father would fix it." Coleman showed up 20 minutes later, his detective badge on his belt and a grim look on his face. He'd been my roommate in basic, my best man, and Karina's godfather. In the hall, he gave me the news I'd feared. Ethan Phelps, 26, only son of Charles Phelps, a real estate tycoon worth over $3 billion. The kid's got a record, but nothing sticks. 3 past assault claims dropped, 2 DUIs erased, a sexual assault report buried 2 years ago. "How's that possible?" I asked. "Charles owns half the city council, funds the DA, and has a legal army," Coleman said, voice tight with frustration. "Uniforms went to the scene, but Phelps's lawyer was already there. By the time I got wind and made calls, Ethan walked free. No arrest, no charges. The DA's calling it weak evidence." "My daughter's in a hospital bed with a smashed face," I said. "I know, True, and I'm telling you, this is beyond my reach. The Phelps family's untouchable with their connections making my badge useless." I stood still for a moment, then said, "Then I'll take care of it. True, thanks for coming and trying, but this is family business now." Something in my tone made Coleman back off. We'd been through 30 years, combat, and lost buddies together, and he knew that sound. "Don't make me arrest you," he warned. "You won't," I promised. "You won't find anything to arrest me for." Back in Karina's room, she was asleep, medicated and worn out, while Amber stood by the window, her reflection showing tear-streaked cheeks. "Coleman says the guy who did this won't face charges," I said softly. "I heard." Amber turned to me, and I caught a rare glimpse of cold fury in her eyes. "My brother, we should call Bruno." In 17 years of marriage, Amber had never suggested reaching out to her uncle for more than cards or wedding invites, and her saying it now hinted at the Moreno family's quiet understanding. Some messes the law can't clean, and Antonio Moreno handled the rest. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "She refused to spend a night with me. My dad owns this city. You can't touch me." I showed Amber, and her face went pale, then set with resolve. "Call him," she said. "Call Bruno." I dialed Antonio from the hospital parking lot at 4 a.m., and the phone rang 4 times before a rough voice picked up in Italian. "Uncle Bruno," I said in English. "It's Daniel Larson, Amber's husband. I haven't forgotten who you are." His English had that Italian lilt, hiding under American words as he asked, "Why are you calling me at this ungodly hour?" I told him straight, Emily was attacked, beaten real bad, and the guy who did it is untouchable. Billions in family money, controls half the police, and the DA won't even look at him. There was a long silence, long enough I thought the line dropped. Then he said, "Lay it all out for me." I gave him the rundown with the precision I learned in the military. The assault, Ethan Phelps's past, his dad's pull, and that smug text message, talking for 7 minutes without him cutting in. "Emily is my blood," Antonio said when I finished, "and your family through marriage, so this is my business too. I'll be there tomorrow evening, but don't do a thing until I arrive." His tone turned firm. "Truman, in my world, we say revenge served hot only burns the one dishing it out. You're mad and you've got every right, but anger makes folks sloppy, so wait for me. We'll handle this the smart way." The call cut off, and I headed back to Karina's room where she'd be under observation for at least 48 hours. I sent Amber home at dawn to get some rest, promising I'd stay with our girl. In the quiet morning, I fired up my laptop and started digging into Ethan Phelps. His social media was a shrine to wealth and ego, showing off yachts in the Mediterranean, exclusive clubs, and nightclub bottle service with a new woman every week. He went to Princeton, but never graduated, just slid into some vague executive gig with his dad's company, mostly hitting parties and ribbon cuttings. Charles Phelps was easier to track down. His name popped up everywhere. A so-called self-made billionaire with a real estate empire built on hard deals and political favors. 3 marriages with each wife younger than the last, his current one a model 20 years his junior. I used some old intelligence tricks and access I'd kept alive, uncovering a cleaner surface but shady edges, quietly settled lawsuits, vanished building code issues, competitors who mysteriously lost funding. Charles had built his fortune on pressure and tricks, teaching his son to think the same rules applied to people. Coleman called around noon, saying, "I'm telling you this off the record and you didn't hear it from me. Go ahead." I listened as he explained. Ethan Phelps got a courtesy questioning this morning by a rookie detective who didn't know better. Lasted 5 minutes before the lawyers shut it down. But I snagged his statement. He claims Emily came to his place willingly. They had a consensual time, and she only got mad when he wouldn't fund her causes, so she got aggressive, and he had to defend himself, saying she fell by accident. My grip tightened on the phone till my knuckles whitened. His lawyer also filed a counter-complaint, Coleman went on, saying Emily tried to extort money with fake claims, and your family should expect a defamation lawsuit. "He's suing us?" I asked. "Yeah, it's a scare tactic to shut you up before you make waves. True, I'm sorry. This system's a mess when it comes to guys like him." After Coleman hung up, I sat with that. Ethan wasn't just sure he'd skate free, he was turning the legal system into a weapon against us. That evening, Emily was more awake, the swelling in her face down a bit, but the bruises turning uglier shades, and with Amber back, we were trying to get her to eat soup when she looked up and said, "I need to tell you something." My voice was clearer now, determined. Before he smashed my phone, I was recording. I froze. Recording what? When he changed the location, it felt off, so I started a voice memo app before going in. It was in my jacket pocket, catching everything. Him making his move, me saying no, him attacking me, it's all there. The phone's wrecked, but it backs up to the cloud. Amber's hand flew to her mouth. "You've got proof." "I gave the police my cloud password with my statement," Emily said, looking at me. "But Coleman told me it won't matter, that evidence vanishes with people like Ethan involved." I yanked out my phone and called Coleman right away. "The recording from Karina's phone, has it been logged yet?" A pause, then, "No, nothing in the system. Why?" "Because it exists. Full audio of the assault, saved to her cloud." Coleman's voice dropped. "True. If I know this, I have to file it officially, and if I do, his lawyers will see it, get it tossed, or make it disappear before anyone key hears it." "Don't file it yet," I said. "Give me 24 hours. You're asking me to hold back evidence. I'm asking you to play this smart about when and how you use it. 24 hours, Cole, then do what you must." After another pause, he agreed. 24 hours. But true, watch yourself. These folks don't play fair. Neither do I said, and hung up. Antonio Moreno landed at Portland International at 6 miles p.m., and I picked him up alone, leaving Amber with Emily at the hospital. He didn't fit the mobster stereotype, a lean 72-year-old in a sharp suit with a single leather bag, silver hair, weathered face, and sharp, dark eyes that missed nothing. We shared a quick hug, and he said, "Show me." At the hospital, Antonio sat by Karina's bed for a long while, studying her injuries with a stony look, gently taking her hand and speaking soft Italian, words I didn't get but felt like a promise. Then he turned to me. "Now we talk somewhere private." We hit a 24-hour diner near the hospital, and in a corner booth, he ordered espresso, listening as I spilled everything on Ethan and Charles Phelps, the corruption shielding them and the recording's existence. "This recording is your trump card," Antonio said. "But run it through their crooked system, and it'll be useless. We need a different approach." "I'm all ears," I replied. "Your intelligence. You get leverage and weak spots." He sipped his espresso. "Robert's empire runs on corruption, so he's got plenty of enemies, folks he's crushed, cheated, ruined, who want payback but lack the guts or means. We find them, unite them, and use Karina's evidence not to nail his son, though that'd be nice, but to topple the father's empire. When it falls, Stanford's left exposed." "You mean a coordinated effort?" I said. "I mean war," Antonio corrected. "Not with guns, those are messy and attract attention, but with info, pressure, and fear. You expose Charles as the crook he is, break his political cover, and Ethan becomes just another thug without protection. Then," he gave a cold smile, "we deal with him right." "This'll take time," I noted. "Good things do. Emily needs to heal. You need to build your case, and I need to make some calls." Antonio leaned in. "In Sicily, we say, not even the heart to your enemy, but we're patient, we plan, we wait, and when we hit, it's one clean strike." Something clicked in my chest, a sense of purpose and a clear path. This was a mission now with goals and tactics. "What do you need from me?" "Everything you can dig up on Charles Phelps and his business, every enemy, rival, every soul he's wronged. I'll track down the ones with useful info and the nerve to act. You handle the digging and intel, and together, we'll set a trap." Bruno's eyes gleamed. "And when it snaps, both Ethan and his dad will regret ever crossing the Larson name." Emily returned home 3 days later, moving slowly and staying mostly in her room to recover. Jessica took leave from her art teaching job at the community college, turning our house into a quiet haven for healing. I converted my office into a strategy center, while Antonio, based at a nearby hotel, spent days with us, making Italian calls and slipping out of unexplained meetings, his energy surprising for his age, his network stretching far beyond Sicily. "I've got progress," Antonio announced on day 4, spreading papers on my desk. "Charles Grayson has made enemies for 30 years. I found 3 willing to help if we guarantee their safety and success." They were Brian Holt, an ex-councilman framed with fake ethics charges after opposing a Grayson project; Keith Lawson, a contractor bankrupted by Grayson's legal theft of his big job; and Samuel Brooks, a journalist silenced by lawsuits after exposing Grayson's dirt. "They've got pieces of the story," Antonio said, "but alone, they lack evidence or nerve. Together, coordinated, they're a threat." I'd been digging too, using military intel skills to map Charles's empire, shell companies, offshore funds, political webs hiding corruption, bribes, fake permits, bullied rivals, and tax evasion. "The challenge is making it public and unstoppable," I said. That evening, Marcus Foster, off duty, reviewed my evidence in the war room with a detective's eye, noting, "This is prosecutable, but the DA won't touch it. Laura Bennett's been in Grayson's pocket, his money backing her last 3 campaigns." "Go over her head. Feds," Antonio suggested. "The FBI needs a strong case and confidence it won't be quashed politically," Marcus countered. I added, What if we link Charles's corruption to a broader system? Developers, politicians, something the feds can't ignore? Marcus's eyes narrowed. You need a trigger, a PR nightmare forcing action. A scandal, Antonio murmured. Public, undeniable, turning Charles toxic, pushing allies away, then we leak evidence through channels he can't block. I turned my laptop to Ethan Grayson's social media. He's hosting a charity gala next weekend at Charles's Tower. Politicians, moguls, media, his yearly philanthropy flex. Crash it? Marcus asked. End it for good, I replied. Over 5 days, we planned. Antonio recruited Brian, Keith, and Samuel with safety promises. Marcus vetted clean FBI agents in Portland. I tracked Ethan, his online arrogance revealing a pattern, women vanishing from his photos. I reached Diana Hurley in Seattle. She hung up on Ethan's name but relented when I said, My daughter was attacked. I'm a dad, not a cop. If he hurt you too, I need to know. She shared, He raped me 2 years ago. Police had my bruises, exam, evidence, but his lawyers forced an NDA and settlement for my mom's bills. Would you break it if he faced justice? Can you touch him? His family owns all, she doubted. I'm trying. Need to confirm he's that guy, I said. She gave 3 more names. By week's end, I'd spoken to 7 women, 6 like Emily's case, 1 a high schooler, Ethan, then 23, targeted. None would testify, fearing Charles, but details confirmed a decade of predation. Useful, but shaky without testimony, Marcus said. We have Emily's recording, unfiled, so not legally admissible yet, I noted. Antonio, quiet, added, We're not bound by law. It needs public exposure, not a court. A leak, I caught on. Not yet. First, we set up, use the gala to chaos Charles's world, then drop it via social media, news, FBI. Too fast for lawyers, Antonio cautioned. And Ethan? I asked. Antonio's smile chilled, a personal plan for his crime. The charity gala was set for Friday night at Grayson Tower, a sleek, glass and steel symbol of Charles's wealth overlooking the Willamette River, with 10,000 per couple tickets supposedly for youth charities, though Samuel Wright's research showed under 15% of last year's funds reached them. Daniel and Antonio's plan had multiple prongs, all converging at the event. Brian Holt, ex-councilman, would enter as a guest of a supervisor who owed him, subtly hinting to politicians about Charles's vulnerability. Keith Lawson, a contractor, used industry contacts to expose hidden building code violations in Grayson Tower, covered up with bribes, and prepared a photo-backed report to deliver to officials at the right moment. Samuel Brooks spent the week rallying trusted journalists, burned by the Grayson machine, teasing a major scandal, directing them to social media Friday night, and setting secure doc drops. Marcus's role was delicate. He connected with FBI agent Tyler Evans, an organized crime specialist not in Charles's pocket, briefing him on my evidence and warning of an impending move. Tyler said, No instant bureau action, but solid, clean proof will reach serious prosecutors. Antonio orchestrated the boldest move, organizing over 200 protesters outside, real victims of Grayson's projects, displaced families, cheated workers, ruined communities, peaceful with signs and chants for media attention. The optics will sting, Antonio noted. Charles partying while his victims stand in the rain. News will love it. And Ethan? I asked. He'll be inside, playing the perfect son, feeling safe in his dad's power. That's our strike point, Antonio replied. The day before, I visited Emily, physically healing, bruises fading from black to yellow, but her eyes held shadows, flinching at noises, anger simmering beneath. I want in, she said of the plan. No, you've suffered enough, I countered. Dad, he hurt me and others. I can't just hide. I need to help, she insisted. Jessica appeared. She's right, I hate it, but she's not a child, and this is her fight. We protect her by stopping Ethan for good. Seeing their shared resolve, I asked Emily, What do you want? Release the recording with my statement. My name, my story, no cover. If I stand, others might too, she said. Lawyers will target you, I warned. Let them. I'm done fearing, she set her jaw stubbornly. Friday brought cold rain, typical November in Portland, with Grayson Tower aglow, its ground floor a lavish scene of champagne fountains and a string quartet, limos unloading guests and finery. Outside, protesters gathered by 6:00 p.m., swelling to over 300 with signs like "Grayson destroys communities," drawing news crews tipped by Samuel. In his hotel room, Antonio prepped in a sharp suit, while I donned formal wear, feeling out of place, preferring tactical gear. "Sure about your role?" he asked. "Get in, track Ethan, hold till the signal. No violence yet. Tonight's about crushing his dad's empire. Personal payback later," I confirmed. Marcus waited in an unmarked car, monitoring police channels, ready to intervene. Brian worked the political crowd inside, and Keith stood with protesters, set to release his report. At 7:30 p.m., Antonio and I blended into the donor crowd. Security was present but lax, Charles's arrogance assuming his wealth was shield enough. The party oozed excess, elites congratulating themselves for charity. I spotted Charles by the bar, a stout 60s man with silver hair and unyielding confidence, and beside him, Ethan, a picture of privilege in a designer suit, sipping champagne, grinning at a councilwoman's joke, at ease. My fists tightened. This was the man who beat my daughter, sent that taunting text, and walked free, but Antonio's touch on my elbow hushed me. Patience. The trap's set. Now we trigger it. At 8:00 p.m., Samuel launched the first move outside, messaging 15 journalists. Big corruption scandal now. Check social media, inboxes, and posting a thread with Keith's building violation photos and bribe proof. It spread like wildfire. Inside, guests checked phones, talks shifted, and I saw Charles's confidence crack as someone showed him a screen, rage replacing it. Ethan's smugness slipped as he checked his phone. "Now," Antonio murmured, nodding to Brian, who shared docs with officials, sparking shock and exits. At 8:15, Keith released his report to Portland media, labeling Grayson Tower unsafe with structural flaws, ironic as the gala teetered on evacuation. By 8:30, chaos hit. Half the guests fled, reporters swarmed, and outside, 400 protesters' chants rattled the glass. Charles, red-faced and shouting into his phone, was abandoned by allies, while Ethan, scared and alone at the bar, lost his crowd. "It's time," Antonio said. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. FBI's en route to Grayson Tower. Tyler got approval for an instant document seizure on fraud evidence. ETA 10 minutes. Things sped up faster than planned, the trap clicking too perfectly. Antonio pulled out his phone, accessing a private site saying, "The recording." Emily okayed its upload across multiple platforms. One tap, and it hits 5 social media spots, 3 YouTube channels, and 24 journalists' inboxes. Unstoppable. "Do it," I said. He tapped, and Emily's voice hit the web. "I appreciate the invite, Mr. Grayson, but I'm not okay with your apartment over the restaurant. I should go." Ethan's smooth, smug tone followed. "Don't be difficult. I'm offering a big donation. Just be friendly." Emily snapped back. "That's not philanthropy. I'm leaving." Then came the attack's raw audio. Ethan's voice turning harsh, furniture crashing, Emily's pleas, his cruel laugh as he hit. 8 minutes of proof, confessing to expecting sex for cash, boasting police control, threatening her silence. It was ironclad, viral instantly. I watched Ethan's face pale as someone showed him a phone, hands shaking. Charles bulled through the crowd, dragging Ethan to a private elevator, but FBI agents burst in, Tyler leading 6 in blue windbreakers, declaring, "Charles Grayson, we've got a warrant for Grayson Development Records. You're under probe for fraud, bribery, racketeering." Charles's face went purple, snarling, "You've no authority." "We've got federal power," Tyler retorted. "Secure all tech, no one leaves." As agents spread, Antonio whispered, "The Empire's falling. We'll handle the sun." But Ethan panicked, bolting for the stairs, knocking over a champagne fountain. "Stop him!" Charles shouted, but no one moved. Daniel and I followed calmly, Marcus's voice in my earpiece. "I see him. He's heading to the garage." Ethan stumbled into the lot, searching for his car. I blocked the exit. "Ethan Grayson," I said quietly. He spun, fear in his eyes. "Stay back! My dad'll jail you!" "Your dad's under federal heat, his shield's gone, money frozen, lawyers fleeing." I stepped closer. "You're alone. I didn't hurt your daughter. She wanted—" "Finish it, and I'll break your jaw," I cut in. "We know what you did. 7 others confirm it. Millions heard the tape," I said. His bravado crumbled. "What do you want? I'll pay." "Your dad's broke by morning. FBI's seizing. City's shutting his buildings. Allies are gone. No bailout," I said. Antonio blocked the other exit. "In Sicily, harming our family demands a permanent fix." Ethan's legs buckled. "Please, I'm sorry, a mistake." "You've made many, thinking you're untouchable, texting that taunt, existing where men like me thrive," Antonio said. Marcus chimed in. "True, PD's coming, clear out." But I pressed. "While you cower, Emily's prepping to testify, showing courage you'll never grasp." "I'll confess, plead guilty, just don't—" "Don't what? Hurt you? You're facing consequences, legal, social, personal. How much is the question?" I said. Antonio showed a news article. Ethan's face with assault headlines. "Your name's ruined, life over. Will you see a cell?" He collapsed, sobbing. No satisfaction hit me, just cold resolve. He'd hurt Emily, and this was just the start. "Let's go," I told Antonio. "He's not worth it." We left him in the garage. Police found him a mess, taken into protective custody as a self-risk. Next morning, news blared. Charles's empire collapsed. Federal probes grew. Ethan faced multiple assault charges. The recording and Emily's statement went viral. 3 more women spoke out. But with Jessica and Emily at home, it felt incomplete. Legal justice loomed, but the personal debt lingered. Antonio read my thoughts. "Wait, the trap's set. Now the final move ensures it's done." The weekend after the gala shook Portland. Charles Grayson's arrest made national news, with the FBI exposing massive fraud, money laundering, and bribery. His assets froze, buildings sealed, and political allies ditched his cash and photos. Ethan Grayson faced assault charges, held on $500,000 bail his dad couldn't pay, struggling in county jail under protective custody per Marcus's sources. "Good," Emily said coldly, gaining strength as her bruises faded and resolve grew. Her calm TV interview about the attack sparked nationwide support, legal aid, counseling offers, and 8 more women accusing Ethan from college days. "The DA has to hit hard now," Marcus said. "Laura Bennett's saving herself by targeting Ethan with max sentences." Yet something bugged me. Legally, Ethan faced years. Charles's empire crumbled, justice seemed served, but it felt unfinished. Antonio stayed quiet, busy with calls and secret meetings, then Monday night requested a private chat at his hotel. "Ethan'll get 8-12 years with good behavior," Antonio said, pouring whiskey. "He'll survive, protected by family ties, humiliated, but eventually free." "Not enough?" I asked. "You've got a choice," he replied. "The law offers its justice, but in my world, some crimes demand a permanent end. Sicily doesn't mess with parole." "You mean kill him," I said. "To ensure he never hurts another woman," he said firmly. I stared at my whiskey. Combat kills were different. This was calculated revenge. "I need to think," I said. "Don't wait. He's vulnerable now, Charles can't help, and this window closes soon," he warned. That night, awake beside Jessica, I wrestled with it. 20 years in service taught me law and order, but seeing Emily's battered face, hearing Ethan's laugh on the recording, And that smug text, "You can't touch me," haunted me. The law might punish, but could it stop him in 10 years? Wednesday, Samuel Wright called, "Check this. Charles is moving $200 million to offshore accounts despite the FBI freeze, planning to flee. Rumors of a deal to snitch for leniency and witness protection could let Ethan off on a technicality. Double jeopardy, his lawyers are moving." "How likely?" I asked. "Feds do weird things, and Charles's dirt could topple big names. Prosecutors might prioritize that over Ethan," he said. Marcus confirmed, "A deal's brewing. Charles has state-level corruption evidence. The FBI wants that more than Ethan's conviction. Sorry, true, it's politics." That night, Emily found me staring in my office. "Dad, you okay?" "What if Ethan skips prison?" I asked. She paused. "I'd be mad, but cope. His life's ruined, everyone knows. What if he starts over and hurts again in 10 years? Sitting close, then stop him permanently. "I know about you and Uncle Antonio. Mom told me, and I see your struggle because you're good." She took my hand. "But good men sometimes do hard things to protect others, like in the army." "That was war. This feels different," I said. "Is it? He's attacked 9 we know, likely more. If law fails, what of the next woman? Her dad where you are now?" Her eyes held a stark truth, not revenge, but prevention. "I'll consider it," I said quietly. That night, I decided. Bruno's plan was sleek and smart, the kind only a seasoned tough guy could craft. Ethan's in protective custody, isolated from other inmates, but every prisoner hits the infirmary, and every infirmary has its blind spots. "You've got someone inside?" I asked. "I've got a contact with a connection inside," Antonio said. "It's solid enough to rely on, long enough to keep us detached. But you've got to be sure, Truman. Once we do this, there's no undoing it. Are you certain?" I pictured Emily's bruised face, the 8 other women, and countless others too scared to speak. I saw Ethan's cocky smirk at the gala and Charles's smug belief that money could dodge any consequence. Plus, the legal system I'd trusted was set to free a predator because his dad had leverage. "I'm certain," I said, "but with conditions." "Spill them," Antonio replied. "It's got to look natural or accidental, no obvious hit that sparks a hunt, and I want to witness it. Need to see it through." Antonio eyed me hard. "This'll mark you. Watching a man die, even one who earned it, isn't like deciding it. Are you ready?" "I've faced death before, but not this way. Combat's quick, all adrenaline and mess. This'll be slow and deliberate, with time to think, doubt, regret, and you can't let any of that slip, not a hint, or it jeopardizes us all." "I understand," I said. "Then we go ahead," Antonio nodded. "But Truman, after this, there's no retreat. You'll bear this murder's weight, and you must own it." I'd wrestled with this for 3 days, probing my conscience, values, identity, asking if I could stomach Ethan alive, potentially free, possibly harming more, and I couldn't. My old drill sergeant's words echoed, "Some men need killing." It felt harsh then, but now it fit. "I accept it," I said. "When?" "Tomorrow night. The late shift in the infirmary is with us. Ethan's been whining about chest pains and jail stress, so he'll be moved for observation. There's a 30-minute camera maintenance gap, and during that, he'll suffer a sudden, fatal heart attack. Officially, an undiagnosed condition stressed by incarceration. Even at his age, it happens." "How do I get in?" I asked. We've got a camera feed. You'll watch from a safe spot, confirm he's gone, then we all move on and never speak of it." That felt wrong. If I ordered this, I should face it head on. But Antonio was right. Being there risked too much. "Show me the feed," I said. Antonio fired up a laptop with an encrypted app, revealing a grainy black and white view of a small infirmary room. 1 bed, basic equipment, 1 door. "That's it. Tomorrow night, Ethan's in that bed, and he won't leave," he said. The next day felt off. I went through breakfast with Jessica and Emily, a video client call, security paperwork. but it all felt like someone else's routine. Coleman called at noon. Prosecutors offered Charles a deal today, full cooperation for reduced charges and witness protection. It's on, True. Ethan's team's already fighting to ditch evidence, claiming an illegal probe. They might free him. Thanks for the update, I said, steady. At 8 p.m., I drove to a storage unit on the city's outskirts. Antonio was there with two unknown guys, middle-aged with the wary eyes of seasoned operatives. No names, no greetings. Antonio set the laptop on a table. Feeds live. Ethan's been in the infirmary 20 minutes, complaining of chest pains and breathing issues. Doc found nothing but admitted him to watch. Nurse just started, she's ours and she'll block others. The screen showed Ethan, pale and scared. Good. Let him squirm. How's it done? I asked. One quiet guy said, potassium chloride injection causes instant cardiac arrest. Done clean, it's nearly undetectable in a basic autopsy. Paired with his stress, it'll pass as heart failure, natural causes. Who does it? The nurse. She'll check vitals at 10 RPM, inject it into his IV. He'll be dead in 90 seconds. She'll wait 5, then call it in. By the time help arrives, it's too late. Ruled a hidden heart condition. I watched the screen. Ethan alone, likely terrified, banking on Charles to save him. But his dad was locked up, power gone, leaving him isolated. Time crawled. Antonio offered whiskey. I declined, needing focus to etch every moment, to shoulder this choice. At 9:58 p.m., a nurse entered, scrubs on, moving quick, checking gear and adjusting Ethan. He pleaded with her, but her face stayed blank. She pulled a syringe, checked it, and moved to the IV. This was my out. I could shout, tell Antonio to halt, let the courts try, preserve the me who'd never ordered a death. But Emily's question hit. What about the next woman? The nurse inserted the syringe. Ethan's body seized, back arching, hands gripping his chest, mouth open in a silent yell. He thrashed 30 seconds, then stilled. She timed it, checked pulse and eyes after a minute, then left. I watched his body another minute, no movement. Ethan Grayson was gone. It's done, Antonio said softly. One guy shut the laptop, packed up. In 5 minutes, the unit was just us. How you feeling? Antonio asked. Nothing, I said, surprised it was true. I'd expected guilt or dread, but it felt like closing a case, cold, necessary. That's solid, Antonio said. Guilt might hit later, or maybe not. Some are built for this and never waver. Time will tell. We drove back separately. I hit home at midnight. Jessica awake, book unread in the living room. Is it done? She asked. Yes, I nodded. She paused. No details, no judgment, but Truman, promise this ends here. Promise we don't become fixers this way. I promise, I said, meaning it. I'd crossed a line, but it was a one-time fix for a clear threat, not a new path. Jessica hugged me, and we stood in the quiet house, bracing against the darkness we'd welcomed. The news dropped at 6 a.m. Ethan Grayson had died from a sudden cardiac arrest in custody, with the county medical examiner calling it natural, likely due to an undiagnosed heart condition worsened by jail stress. An investigation kicked off, but found no signs of foul play early on. Charles Grayson, locked in his federal cell, reportedly crumbled at the news. Yet his deal with prosecutors moved ahead. He had too much dirt on big shots to drop, earning him 10 years in minimum security before disappearing into witness protection. His empire gone, but his life spared. Some might see that as unfair, but I took it as acceptable trade-off. The dad lost his legacy, reputation, and son, and he can live with that mess. The next week spilled a wave of exposés. Charles's testimony snagged 32 officials in 15 years of corruption, pushing the mayor to resign, the DA to face charges, and Oregon's governor to skip re-election, reshaping Portland politics for years. For our family, life eased back to normal. Emily kept healing with therapy and dove into survivor advocacy, speaking at schools and hearings about justice reform. Over breakfast one day, she said, "I'm thinking law school, to fight for people like me and stop guys like Ethan from getting off." "You'd be amazing at it," I said, pride swelling my voice. Jessica returned to teaching, finding peace in molding clay and sparking creativity in her students. She never dug for details about that storage unit night, and I held them back, knowing some things stay better unsaid between us. Marcus Reed earned a detective sergeant promotion for his role in busting the Grayson mess. We still met for coffee Fridays, talking sports and family, dodging that night Ethan died. Antonio Ricci lingered in Portland a week, ensuring no investigation into Ethan's death took hold, then showed up at our house one evening with his bag packed saying, "I'm off to Sicily tomorrow. This job's done." Emily hugged him gently, ribs still tender. "Thanks, Uncle Antonio, for everything." "Family's all that matters," he said plainly. "Don't forget it." At the door, he pulled me aside. "You did this right. The boy's gone, the father's wrecked, and true justice hit. But Truman, as I warned, this changes a man. Watch yourself, keep that darkness from taking root." "I will," I promised. He gave me a hard look, then nodded. "You're stronger than most. You'll manage. But if the burden gets too much, call me. Some loads aren't meant to carry alone." After he left, I stood on the porch in the cool November night, eyeing our quiet street where we'd built our life. Same houses, same lights, same calm. But I'd shifted. I'd stepped beyond law, took justice into my own hands, ordered a death, and felt no remorse. That should have hit me harder. But thinking of Ethan, I felt only peace. A predator was gone, women were safer, and my daughter could heal knowing he'd never strike again. If that made me a monster, I could handle it. 3 months later, in February, I sat in my office on a routine background check when my phone pinged with a message from an unknown number. "Thank you." It was Sarah Mitchell, the Seattle woman Ethan attacked 2 years back. She shared a link to a news story about a scholarship fund in Ethan's name, funded by settlements from his victims to aid sexual violence survivors. "We're turning his death into something positive," Sarah wrote, "bringing light from the pain. I don't know what went down in that jail, but I know you played a part, so thanks for trusting us, for protecting others, for stepping where the law failed." I deleted it fast. No trace, no trail, but let a small grin slip. That darkness I'd let in didn't stick around. It just erased a threat and left, keeping my family safe and my conscience steady. That night, I found Jessica in her studio shaping a new piece, vessels symbolizing strength from brokenness. She looked up, clay on her hands, calm in her eyes. "How was your day?" "Good," I said. "Just regular client work?" "Nothing big." "That's nice. Quiet's good." We'd mastered keeping things easy on top while holding the weight of our actions below. It took a special kind of bravery, I thought, living with hard truths and still grabbing joy in small moments. Emily was upstairs studying for her LSAT, her future forming after her struggle. She was tougher now, spirit unbroken despite Ethan's attempts to shatter it. She'd heal, she'd soar, and she'd lift other women too. Ethan was gone, not by courts or slow justice, but by old ways, family shielding family, the strong guarding the weak, evil facing what it thought it could avoid. Antonio was spot on. It was old-fashioned, final, and utterly needed. I walked the house, hearing Jessica's soft music from the studio, Emily's voice practicing questions, feeling the warmth of our built life. This is what I'd battled for, what I'd safeguarded, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat if pushed, though I hoped, deep down, I'd never have to. One plunge into that darkness was enough for any man. I'd seen my own strength when my family was threatened, learned my moral edges weren't as firm as I thought, and that awareness would linger, a shadow in my mind that wouldn't lift, but shadows guide. They show the light and what's worth defending. Standing there, encircled by those I love most, I knew I'd made the right move. Some men need removing, and some dads love their daughters enough to step up and do what's required. The world's better for it, and the Carter family's whole.